I'm Sharon Bill. Welcome to my Music Theory Tuition series where I work with you step by step through the ABRSM Discovering Music Theory grades. I'll work through every single exercise and explain everything you need to know. You can access information about the books I have available to help you on my website. Go to sharonbill.com. For advert-free and longer lessons, you can become a patron at patreon.com/SharonBill. If you can give me a like, that would be super, and please do subscribe to my channel to stay updated. You can support this channel by buying me a coffee at buymeacoffee.com/SharonBill. Moving on to page 9 of the Grade 2 Discovering Music Theory workbook, we move on to exercise 4 of the chapter where we're looking at time signatures, and particularly at the moment we're looking at time signatures that are counting in minim beats. And so we can see, as we've explained previously, that we're using half notes to use the kind of American pop terminology as opposed to the classical terminology. You can see we divided into half notes, and so the bottom number 2 we halve the whole, and so that bottom number 2 means we're counting each beat as now a minim. And so we have a couple of tasks to do. It says to number the beats and then complete the time signature for each of these melodies. However, I wonder if it might be a better idea to sort of complete the time signature first and then number them, because then at least we know what we're counting to, don't we? So we'll do the time signature first and then we'll number the melodies. I just think it works better in that order, really. And so we can see this first bar has 1 minim beat, 2 minim beats, and so that quickly tells us. So some bars may be easier to work out than others, and then we can show where each beat falls. There's the beginning of the bar, there's the second beat, there's the beginning of the bar. The second beat falls in the middle of that beat there, and then there's the remainder of beat 2. There's the beginning of the bar, there's the second beat, because there's 1 minim, there's another minim, there's 1 minim, and then that lasts half as long again, so beat 2 falls as that note is still sounding. So let's look at exercise B. Well, this first bar tells us quite simply that there are 1, 2, 3 minim beats per bar. So we can say that there are 3 minim beats. We're counting each minim beat. And let's just work out where each minim beat falls, and then that will make it easier when we are showing where the beat falls. So there's beat 1 minim. Those 2 make a minim. Those 2 make a minim. There's 1, 2, 3, nice and easy. Now a semi-breve divides into 2 minim beats, and then there's our final minim beat, and so that's the thinking done. So we can easily show now minim beat 1, 2, 3. There's beat 1, there's the start of beat 2, there's beat 3, 1, 2, 3. And then this semi-breve, there's beat 1, and it's also going to last into beat 2, and then beat 3 is the final beat, and minim beats rest. And so perhaps now would be a good idea to press pause, try some on your own. Doesn't matter if it goes wrong, I always say that, I know. Work in pencil and you can just erase it out if it isn't right. Always better to learn by your mistakes. And then pop back into the video to check through these together. So I'm hoping that you've had a little go of these. Let's now think about this. So first job is the time signature. So we can see this is a nice easy bar. We have 1 minim beat, 2 minim beats. So that tells us nice and easy. So that tells us that's... Let's double check it through and also mark out where each minim beat falls. There's beat 1, there's 1 minim. And then quaver plus a quaver equals crotchet. Quaver plus a quaver equals a crotchet. 2 crotchets equals a minim. So there's another minim beat. Crotchet, crotchet, there's a minim. And then here, now, of course, that must be beat 2. We can see that. But let's just think how this works out. We know Let's think about it in a crotchet beat first of all. There are 4 semiquavers to 1 crotchet. So a quaver is half of that crotchet, the dot is half as much again, and then here is the remaining quarter of that crotchet beat. So we can see that adds up to a crotchet. Instead of being 2 equal halves, it's 3/4 and a quarter. And there's a crotchet, and we know that crotchet plus crotchet is a minim. And there's a minim beat. There's a minim beat rest. And so that's all of the thinking done. And now we can simply show beat 1, beat 2 begins here. We show the beginning of the beat. There's beat 1, there's beat 2. That's what we do when we play. We show there's beat 1, there's beat 2, 1, 2. 1 and 2 and a 1, 2. We must place those carefully. Let's look at exercise D. Now this one is a little bit busier, so let's just find what the time signature is first of all. So we have crotchet, crotchet, all of that makes a minim. Crotchet plus a crotchet is a minim. And then we know that's a crotchet beat there, of course. And then half as much of that is a quaver's worth. And there's another quaver. 2 quavers gives us a crotchet. And so 2 crotchets gives us our minim beat there. And so we can see that we've got 1, 2, 3 minim beats. And so let's just look at this bar. So a crotchet, of course, and then half of that is a quaver's worth plus a quaver, which together gives us a crotchet, and then crotchet and crotchet gives us a minim. So there's a minim's worth. 2 crotchets is a minim, 2 crotchets is a minim, and so that's 3/2. And so now we place the beats 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Let's have a look at this next one. So there's a minim. Crotchet plus crotchet is a minim. There's a minim. That's 3 minim beats per bar. There's a minim. Half of that is a crotchet. That's the dot. Plus this other crotchet gives us another minim's beat. And there's a minim, minim, minim. That's a crotchet rest. 2 quavers equals a crotchet, so there's a minim. Now we know that a semi-breve divides into 2 minim beats, and then there is a minim beat rest. So now we can show there's beat 1 at the beginning of the bar, beat 2, there's beat 3, there's beat 1. So that's here is beat 2 is going to fall because that's the beginning of beat 1 and halfway into beat 2 there's the remainder of beat 2, there's beat 3, there's beat 1, there's beat 2, there's beat 3, there's beat 1, and it holds for beat 2. The semi-breve is 2 minim beats worth. We're counting a minim, so that 1, 2, and then there is beat 3 as a rest. Let's look at this final one. So we need to see how many minim beats there are. So there's 1, there's 1, there's 1, and 2 crotchets added together makes a minim. So there's 1. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 minim beats. Let's look at the next one. So there's beat 1, and then half of that is a crotchet's worth, and a crotchet plus a crotchet is a minim. So there's beat 2, there's beat 3, there's beat 4, there's one part of the minim, and then the dot after is half as long again, so that's a crotchet's worth as a dot. So together with this there is a minim's worth. Minim, minim. Now here we have a dotted semi-breve. Now remember, a dot is half as long again. So a minim is worth a semi-breve is worth 2 minims, and then half as much again gives us another minim. So we've got kind of 3 minim beats, 6 crotchet beats, because a semi-breve is 4 plus 2 is 6, or we have 1, 2, 3 minim beats there. So there is beat 1 and beat 2, and then this is beat 3, and then here is minim beat 4. So there's beat 1, there's beat 2, beat 3, beat 4, 1, 2, 3, 4 and 1. Now beat 2 falls in the middle here. It's going to last into beat 2. The first part of beat 2, there's the second part of beat 2. There's beat 3, there's beat 4, there's the beginning of beat 1. Beat 2 falls here as the note's holding into beat 2. There's the second half of beat 2. There's beat 3, there's beat 4, and then here's beats 1, 2 and 3 with the dot, and then beat 4 is a rest. So that's exercise 4 completed. I hope this is helpful to your studies. Please do like and subscribe to stay updated. If you'd like to support this channel, you can buy me a coffee, and for advert-free lessons you can become a patron. Do visit my website where you'll find many resources available to help you. Visit sharonbill.com. Thanks for watching. Bye.